Hi everybody, welcome to lesson 1, the scale. How to build a scale from scratch. So my goal here is to teach you sort of the recipe on how to build a scale, one scale, and then you can use that same recipe and build all your scales. So there's 12 different notes on the piano, and you can build a scale on each one of those notes. But if you learn how to build it once, you can just move that recipe to a different place and build it the same way. You'll see what I mean. So what we're looking at here is this is called a music staff, and it has 5 lines, and depending on where the note is, it tells you what note to play on your ukulele or your guitar or whatever. In this case, what we have here is I've got a ukulele score or music staff picked. And this instrument, even though it doesn't really look like a traditional ukulele, they don't have it. They have a rosewood bass, which is a 4-string bass. But because I can pick the ukulele here, it shows where to put your fingers on a 4-string ukulele. So in other words, because it's got 4 strings, it's the same. You can trust it, even though it looks a little different. This is mainly just to tell you where to put your fingers on your fingerboard. And the way that this works is, like on a ukulele, it's like if you're holding the ukulele so that your strings are, first one is, the bottom one is G, and then C, and then E, and then A. Right? I'm just going to take those off so it doesn't get confusing. So the first one is G there. And then this one is where we're going to start. So if you'll notice, I'm clicking my mouse right on this white line here. It's called the nut of your ukulele. It's that little white piece that holds the strings. The reason that we do that is because this is to indicate that you're playing the string open, or in other words, you're playing it with no fingers. You're just playing the string by itself. So you haven't pressed your finger down on any frets, but you're playing the string. That's called open. So when you play this string open, you get a C. When you play this string open, you get a G. This one, you get an E, and this one, you get an A. And that's a good, you can always, you know where you're starting from, so you can figure out your scale from there. The musical scale goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it starts all over again. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, F, G. And of course, you can start it anywhere. You can start it on C, so you can go C, D, E, F, G, and then it starts again. A, B, C. You know, you can start it on B or D, it doesn't matter. But those are the notes you have to choose. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So the first thing we're going to do is learn how to play a scale, which most of us know the sound of a scale from do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And like just from do, a deer, a female deer, and all those songs, like most of us know what a scale sounds like in our head, so we don't need to really do that. A lot of people don't know it well enough that they can tell if it's wrong. It'll sound funny sometimes, but you'll get to recognize it right away. As soon as you start playing it right a few times, you're going to get to know the sound and you'll never miss it again. So we're going to learn how to build a scale. I'm going to choose for the ukulele here, I'm going to choose the scale of G, because we can just start with that lowest string right there. And that's what it looks like on the staff. So the way that the musical staff works is, see, that's C, and that's sort of where piano players always learn to start. And they always say it looks like the note's been shot with an arrow. And it's because this is a line. The notes are put on this graph or staff in the order of line, space, line, space, line, space. That changes the note. So this one's on a line, that one's on a space, line, space, line, space, line, space, line, space. And where these are, the notes here tell you where to go on your ukulele in this case. You know, and there's several different, because you've got so many frets going up, and then you've got 4 different options for all those frets. That's a lot of notes to choose from. If you just look at this fretboard, even though the ukulele isn't very big, there's still lots of notes to choose from. And so there's more than one C. There's lots, you know, like here's one C. I gotta get rid of this one. There's one C, but another one's right here. It's a different C. Like it's a high C. You can listen to the difference. But it's still a C. So, and there's C's on this string, like we could figure out on this string, which is E string, right? Just we could figure out by going up the alphabet. Once you know how many frets to go up, you could figure out where C is on every string. There's a C on every string, or sometimes several C's on every string. So, you know, it's a lot to keep track of, but what I'm trying to do is just get you to see how a scale is built. And so if we start with G, which is no fingers on that string closest to you, at the top of the ukulele, if you're holding it, that's your first note. And then from that note, if you look here, I've got this little pattern, W, W, H, W, 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 H. So 2 W's and an H, and then 3 W's and an H. And this stands for a whole step, which means a whole step is when you skip a fret. Okay, from one fret you skip one, so it's like you're jumping on every second one. You know, if you're doing it this way, jump, you're jumping on every second one. And if it's a half step, it's only 1 fret. So it's right to the next one. Boom, 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 boom. If you're here, like that's not 1, but from here to there, that's 1. So even though you have no fingers on here, that's 1, that's 2. So if you were going to do a whole step from here, you'd skip that one and jump to that one, if that makes sense. So you don't have to know exactly what these notes all say. It's good to do because you can then read music and figure out where to put your fingers if you want to. So it is good, but you don't have to get stuck with that right now for this lesson. That's something that we'll keep working on, and you'll get to recognize them, I think. But the G and this is called a treble clef, which is just a way of saying, for a piano player, it means your right hand, and then you have a different clef for your left hand, and another. Piano players have 2 sets of staves, 2 staves, and so one's for the right hand, one's for the left hand. But when you're playing the ukulele, really what you want to do is, we're just trying to figure out the notes or the melody to play. Chords are different. You've seen chords on music. They're written up above. So you might be a G chord here, you know, and go for the whole bar or whatever. But this is just notes we're dealing with, 1 note at a time. So the first one is G, right there. And that's how it looks on here. It goes to the second line from the bottom. And then we're going to jump, because we're going to do a whole step. So we're going to jump a fret and go to this one next. So that would be for our second note here. We're going to jump that one and go to this one. So you can see here, it just goes up from this line to this space. Right to the next one on here. So, and then the next one, we're going to do another whole step. So we're going to jump a fret again to the next note. What is it? So we're here, we're going to jump a fret to this note. And you can see it going up here. And now we've got a half, right, to this note. We've only got a half step here. So we're going to go right to the next one from there. So we went from here to there, And then we're going to go to this one. Right? So if you look at it, you can see how it's just kind of going up the stairs. Line, space, line, space. And then we're going to keep going here. So now we've got another whole tone, another W. So we're going to skip a fret now. And we were on this one. First there, 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 there. And now we're going to skip one and go to here. Whoops. You know what happened there. Okay, that's what we're on. And we're going to go from there now. We're going to go to that one. That's our next one. And then from there, we're going to do another whole step. So we're going to go another skip a fret from there to there. Then we're going to do another whole step. Skip from there. We're going to skip one and go to there, right? Next. Whoops. Sorry, my mistake. I just pressed the wrong button. That's right. And then, so you're going to notice here, see this number sign there? That means a sharp. Okay. Because here's E. And between E, let me call up a piano keyboard here for a second just to show you what I'm going to show you now. Okay. Just for a minute, I'm just going to show you this piano for a second. Just watch this. So we are... Oops. We are here. If you look at the, we're in an F sharp. So if you look here at the way that the piano is laid out, you don't have to know a lot about piano, but you just got to see how there's 2 black notes in a group, and then 3 black notes in a group, and then 2, and then 3, and 2, and 3. That's how we can tell where we are on the piano all the time, because of the way these notes are grouped. You can always, because this is C, at the bottom of the 2 black notes is C. It's written right here. And so whenever there's 2 black notes at the bottom, it's a C. So we can always sort of find our way around. Now when we're doing a scale in G, we have to go whole step, and here's a half step. You'll notice that there's no black note there. So the distance from one note to the very next here is between B and C. There's no black note. If you were here on the A and you wanted to get, you went up a half step, you'd go up to the black note. Or if you went down a half step, you'd go down to that black note. If you were here on B, you'd go down to the black note or up to C because there's no black note there. So if you're looking at the scale we just did now, we went G, A, B, C, D, E. Now this one, we need another whole step here. So if we went here just to the next white one, it would be a half step. It wouldn't be right and it would sound wrong, you know. So here we have to do a whole step, so we have to skip one and go up to there. And on your ukulele, it's not that clear. You just got to trust. But that's why this is a sharp, is because you'd have to get there. That's why that one has a sharp on it. And then the last one is right there. And you can always tell it's an octave because it's usually where the 2 dots are on your ukulele neck or your guitar neck. The 2 dots are usually at the 12th fret, which is 1 octave. It means you've gone from low C to high C, or in this case, low G to high G. Right? So now if we play that, starting with G, and we go whole step, sorry, just to make sure that you know what you're watching here. If you watch down here on these blue dots will show you where to put your fingers to get this. So G is there with no fingers on your frets. Open, and then you skip a fret, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. And then what you should do, once you can do that, go back down. You got to remember now in reverse, because you've got to go half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step. Okay, that would be your goal. So, and your assignment maybe that you can try, if you can get that one, go to the next string and do the same thing. I'm gonna delete all these. And we'll start from a different place. Okay, so say we start on the next string down now. This is C, this is C string, open is C, okay? So that's the next one. Then the next thing we're going to do, we're going to go from this open, we're going to do a whole step. So you're going to skip one and play this one. Then another whole step, so you're going to skip one and play this one. Then a half step. Right? Next one to it. Now a whole step. Now another whole step. Now another whole step. And then a half step. Oops. Good. And now you've got the same thing. You've got a C scale now. The other one we did started on G, so it was a G scale. Now we've got a C scale. Practice going up and down that one until you get it. You will notice that all the frets are going to be the same from string to string. So once you kind of figure out where to put your fingers on the strings, or on the frets, I'm sorry. So the first one's on, if we start down at the beginning, no fingers. Second fret, fourth fret, fifth fret, seventh fret, ninth fret, 11th fret, 12th fret. So if you kind of remember where to put your fingers in, all the strings are the same. Okay, so that's for your lesson 1, that's your assignment. Now for your guitar players, I'm going to do exactly the same thing and show you here. This is for the guitar. And it's the same principle exactly. Let's take all these out though. Start from scratch. And just going to make this a bit bigger, easier to see. There we go. Okay, so here's your guitar. Standard, here's the E string, the lowest string. And in this case, they have one that actually looks like a guitar. So E, A, D, G, B, D, E. So there's all your strings, low E. So I'm sure that a lot of you people already know how to play scales on the guitar, but I'm going to go over it anyway for people. So the first one, we'll start with an open string, which is low E. Now here's it's this first one. Here's the thing about, if we start there, we're going to be playing all these are called ledger lines, which means when they run out of lines, they don't want to keep the staff going. It would look too complicated. So they just draw the line above the single note, but it's the same thing. Line, space, line, space, line, space, line, space. That's low E. That's a lot of lines to count down. So it's the same thing if we play this one. if we do the high E string, so let's do that one. It'll just be easier to read. Or maybe even pick a different string. Yeah, let's do D. Let's do the D string, just because it'll be easier to see. The same principle happens on each string. So we're going to do a D scale. And again, you can see it. I'm going to use the fretboard here, and it's going to show you the notes and how they look. And so D is open. No fingers on. That's the third string from the top. And then the next note is going to be a whole step. So we're going to skip a fret. And then we're going to skip another fret. Then we've got a half step. Right? So right next to it. Now we've got a whole step again, so we're going to skip. I'm going to do a whole one. Whole again. Whole again. Whoops. You could hear that right away, eh? Listen to that. Listen. Missing one note there, right? We've got to get that one right there. 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 So there's our D scale. Starting on the D string, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, and then go back down again. Now this is learning the whole scale on one string, and that's all I wanted to do for this lesson. There is a way, of course, you can use several strings to play the scale, and it's way easier to move your hand around. But this way you can really see what it looks like. If you're confused by why is this an F sharp, you know, if you start on D and you go to E for your next note, and then if you just went to F, it would be here. It would be right next to it, and it would be a half step here. So it wouldn't be a major scale anymore. It would change the scale. You know, we can hear it if you want. It changes. Sounds like this now. It's not wrong. It's just different. It's no longer a major scale. Okay, but if you want it to be a whole step, it has to be a sharp. There you go, and then a half step, then a whole, half, and then go back down. Do the same thing on every string. E, A, D, G, B, E. Do it all the way going up and down. And if you can do that, you're going to have a real solid understanding basically of how a scale is constructed on your instrument, and that's really important as we go on to lesson 2, which is how chords work. So if you have any questions, you can ask me, send me an email, or ask me, you know, we'll have Zoom sessions, so you can ask me during those. But if you really have a question you need to know the answer for, send me an email. Don't be shy, and I'm happy to answer them. Okay, everybody. I hope this helped. Thanks.